చెక్ వస్తుంది మహేందర్ నడిపిస్తున్నా ఓమ్ని ఆ ఓమ్ని లాగా చేపిస్తాం మహేందర్ ఓమ్ నడిపిస్తుంది చైతన్య కృష్ణ ఓమ్ని చూడు కావాలంటే దాని లాగా చేపిస్తాం చూడండి మహేందర్ 5 లక్షలు అంటారు అవునా అది మళ్ళీ ఉంది 280 క్యాష్ 280 సిటీ పాసింగ్ ఆయన 280కి వస్తుంది ఏడు వస్తుంది 280కి సిటీ పాసింగ్ నీకు క్యాష్ అదేమో ఫైనాన్స్
Hi, good afternoon.
Meetings are audible.
Can you please confirm my voice is audible or not?
Yes, sir.
yes sir
And hope my screen also visible.
yes sir
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So actually, from the GCP side, we are discussing about airflow. So in the airflow, so far we discussed about 2 different DAGs. One for submitting data from workflows, and second DAG to submit data from jobs with multiple tasks. So these 2 are the topics we covered as part of our airflow. So in the airflow, we discussed about what is the architecture of the airflow, how it is working internally, and how we can able to submit the single task and how we can able to submit the multiple tasks. And so far we discussed about within the DAG or in the airflow DAG, how we can able to use our data prop related operators. Okay. So now in the today's session, we'll see one more use case. In that use case, we'll try to understand end-to-end how we can able to perform our data engineering activity. Just we'll see that use case. With that, you can able to get the clear picture. Just one second. Okay. So here, first to try to understand the use case. Once you understand the use case, it is very easy to perform everything in the practicals by using our airflow DAG. So compared to the use case 3, most of the things are similar to here. So whatever the logic we need to apply, everything is similar. But if you observe, as part of this use case, we are going to deal with the same CSV files. Okay. So earlier we dealt with the JSON file. After that, we converted the JSON file to the Parquet format. Then we loaded the data into the tables. On top of that, we applied the transformations. Then we loaded the data into the summary table. But in this example, what we are going to do here is, instead of the JSON files, we are going to use the CSV files. By using the CSV files, we are going to perform the end-to-end activity. And here what we are doing is, this is the flow. In the source bucket, we are having CSV files. Now requirement is, I want to copy all these files into other bucket. And before doing this copy operation, my requirement is, I want to create a new bucket. Then I want to copy all these files into that new bucket. After that, by using these files, I want to load data into BigQuery CJ tables. After that, I want to load data into BigQuery SJ table. So this is the end-to-end flow. So from the source bucket, I want to copy the files into the new bucket. Here we need to create the new bucket. In that new bucket, we need to copy the files. After that, by using these files, I want to load the data into our BigQuery CJ tables. and from those CZ tables, I want to load the data into the BigQuery SZ table. So this is the way end to end I want to perform all the operations. But here requirement is I want to perform all these operations with the help of the Airflow. I want to perform all these operations with the help of the Airflow. At the same time, here requirement is in CZ, we need to have both external and internal tables. So in the CZ, I want to handle both external tables and internal tables. Coming to SZ, I want to handle everything with the internal tables. Don't ask me the question what is the external table and what is the internal table, which we discussed already as part of our BigQuery only. So we discussed about type of the tables, external tables, and second type of table we can able to call it as a manager tables, or we can able to call it as internal tables, or we can able to call it as native tables. Now my requirement is in the CZ, I want to load the data from the files, from the GCS bucket files. But here requirement is within the CZ, I don't want to maintain all the tables as external tables, or I don't want to maintain all the tables as internal tables. Few tables I want to maintain it as an external table. One table I want to maintain it as an internal table. So why we are doing this activity here is, here my intention is to explain from Airflow how to create external tables. And my intention is here, I want to explain from Airflow how to create internal tables. And one more intention is how to load data into external tables and how to load data into internal tables. All these operations we are performing from the files. And after that, last requirement is how to load data into SZ table with SQL statement. So earlier, if you remember, we performed the same kind of activity in the BigQuery by applying our BigQuery commands. By using the load command and all those commands, we perform the same kind of activity. But today my requirement is I want to perform all these activities with the help of the Airflow. Now if you observe here in this whole use case, we are integrating Airflow with GCS with BigQuery. So we are going to integrate Airflow, GCS and BigQuery. With the help of these three services, I want to achieve my whole requirement only. Now you try to give the answer. With the help of the Airflow, if you want to perform all these operations, what all are the different operators we need to use? What all are the different operators we need to use at the high level?
GCS operator.
Obviously, we need to use GCS operators.
BigQuery.
Second one, we need to use BigQuery operators, because in the Airflow, I want to do the operations in the GCS. In GCS, what operation you want to perform? I want to create a new bucket. After that, I want to copy the files from the one GCS bucket to other GCS bucket. Earlier, I told you, right? In the Airflow, if you want to perform any kind of operations, we need to use the operators and we need to import the libraries. By using those libraries and operators, we can able to handle any kind of requirements on top of our Airflow. In the same way, after loading the data into the bucket or after copying the files into the bucket, I want to create the BigQuery confirm zone tables and I want to create the BigQuery semantic zone tables. Indirectly from the Airflow, I want to perform the operations on top of the BigQuery. For that reason, we need to use the operators called as a BigQuery operators. Indirectly, with the help of the GCS operator and with the help of the BigQuery operators, we are going to handle this whole requirement. Okay. Any questions up to here on the requirement side, please ask me. Or just I will explain same thing in the Excel sheet only. So here if you observe, we are having the source bucket. In the source bucket, we are having all these files. For source bucket, we are given the name as a U4B1, which is nothing but Usecase04 bucket 1. Coming to GCS bucket 2, this is the bucket which we are loading the data from the bucket 1 to bucket 2. Coming to here, we are given the bucket name as a U4B2, or we can able to call Usecase04 bucket 2. Which is nothing but out of these two buckets, this is the source bucket. This is not creating from the Airflow, but this bucket I want to create from the Airflow and I want to copy the files from the bucket 1 to bucket 2. This is the step 1. After that, from this GCS bucket, I want to load the data into the confirm zone. In the confirm zone, if you observe, I given the different color coding. First 4 tables are nothing but our external table. That color code is representing the external table. This last table, I want to create it as a internal table. This is in the confirm zone. Indirectly in the confirm zone, we need to maintain the external table and we need to maintain the internal table. After that, on top of all these conform zone tables, we need to apply the business requirements as per our use case 3. We need to apply the unions, we need to apply the joins, we need to apply the aggregation, we need to apply the collapse, all those operations. With that, I want to load the data into my target table called as a retail summary table. Indirectly, in the semantic zone, we need to create the table again, and we need to load the data into this retail summary table. I want to perform all these operations with the help of the Airflow. That is the end-to-end use case which we are going to discuss as part of our today's session. Okay. Any question on the requirement set, please ask me here. If requirement is not clear, you cannot even understand what we are going to do by using the Airflow. For that reason, if you have any questions on top of the requirement set, please ask me. Okay. If no questions, try to understand what all are the steps we need to perform here, and or you try to give the answer. What all are the steps we need to perform as per the requirement? First step, we need to create bucket. Now tell me how many buckets we need to create?
2 buckets.
2 buckets or 1 bucket? By using Airflow, I'm asking.
1 bucket.
By using Airflow, I want to create only 1 bucket. After that, copy files from
Source
bucket to target bucket. Here, how many files we need to copy as per the requirement? I want to copy total 5 buckets. Sorry, 5 files. I want to copy 5 files from the source bucket to the target bucket. After that, my requirement is in the confirm zone, I want to create the tables. Now you tell me, if you want to create the tables in the confirm zone, what is the prerequisite? What is the prerequisite?
To create the schema.
We need to create first data set. After that, we need to create the schema, which is nothing but we need to create the CZ data set. How many CZ data set we are going to create? Only 1. After that, we need to create SZ data set. Again, 1. After that, in CZ, we need to create external tables as per the requirement. How many external tables we need to create? Total 4. If you see here, I given the color coding for 4 tables as external table. These 4 tables we are going to create it as a external table. After that, load data into CZ external table. Again, for how many tables we need to perform the load? 4 tables. After that, in same CZ, we need to create 1 internal table. So we are going to create 1 internal table. After that, in CZ, we need to load data into internal table. Again, for only 1 table, we are going to perform this load operation. After that, in SJ, we need to create internal table. In SJ, we are going to create 1 internal table. After that, last step, in SJ, we need to load data as per requirement. Again, here we are loading data for only 1 table. So like this, we are going to perform these many number of steps as part of our this entire use case only. So we need to perform total 10 different operations. We need to create the bucket, copy the files, create the SZ data set, and create the CZ data set. In CZ, we need to create the external tables and we need to load the data. In CZ, we need to create the internal table. Again, we need to load the data. After that, in the SZ, we need to create the internal table. Then we need to load the data as per the requirement. These many number of tasks which we need to create. So why we are discussing all these things here indirectly? To understand how many tasks which we need to create in Airflow. So because in the Airflow, everything we are dealing with the task only. So if you can able to understand all these steps, automatically what will happen? By using all these steps, you can able to understand how many tasks which we need to create as per the requirement. Now tell me, after creation of all these tasks, what is the one more important thing, if you remember, in the Airflow? After creation of all the tasks in the section 3, what is the one more important thing? So obviously we have to define the dependencies. Okay, without having the dependencies, you cannot able to run the your DAG. For that reason, we have to define the dependencies. Okay, now what is the dependency here? First step, we need to create bucket. Then we need to copy the files. After that, we need to create CZ data set. After that, we need to create SGX dataset. After that, I got to load data into 5 CJ tables. And after loading data into all these 5 CJ tables, then I want to load data into one SGX table. So this is the flow, or this is the dependency we have to define. By defining all these kind of dependencies, we need to create all the things as part of our DAG and this. So by using that, we need to define all the tasks. At the same time, we need to define all these kind of dependencies. If you remember, in the DAG total, how many sections we are going to maintain? Total 3 sections. In the first section, what we are going to do?
Modules.
We are going to import our required libraries, and we are going to import our required operators to achieve this whole requirement. As I told you, we need to import GCS libraries and we need to import the BigQuery library. Now within the BigQuery library, we need to import the different operators. In the BigQuery, we need to create the data set. To create data set, we have to use one operator. To create external table, we have to use the one more operator. To create internal table, we have to use the one more operator. Whatever the required operators are needed, all those operators we are importing as part of our first section. In the same way, within the first section, we need to import the GCS library also. From the GCS library, you want to create the bucket. So for that, we are having a separate operator. At the same time, to copy the files also, we are having the separate operator. All those operators we need to import as part of our section 1. So see here, if you understand the requirement, easily you can able to understand what all are the different services we need to import as part of our Airflow, or what all are the different libraries we need to import as part of our Airflow. After that, you need to understand each and every task what we need to perform. With that, you can able to understand which operators we need to import, and with that, we can able to ready with the section 1. Now in the second section, what we are going to do?
Define the default arguments.
We are going to define all the required arguments, and also we are going to create our tag object. With that, we are going to ready with our second section. And now coming to last section, what we are going to do here?
We need to
Simply we are going to create the tasks and we are going to define the dependencies. So with these 3 operations, if you observe in the DAG 1 or in the DAG 2 or in the DAG 3, or if you are going to prepare the 100 DAGs also, in every DAG, we are going to see the same 3 sections. And first section, import the libraries. Second section, define the arguments and define the DAG object. In the third section, we are going to create the tasks and we are going to define the dependencies. With that, you can able to achieve this whole requirement end to end by using our Airflow. Okay. Before moving further, any questions up to here, please ask me. If no questions, now just we'll try to understand what is the DAG we need to create for this one. If you understand all these statements, whatever we are discussing from last 10 to 15 minutes, it is very easy to understand what is the DAG which we are going to create for this requirement. Just observe here. So this is the DAG as I told you earlier. So in the section 1, what we are going to do? If you observe, I am using the BigQuery related library. Within the BigQuery library, we are importing the 3 different operators. One is nothing but create empty dataset operator. What is the purpose of this? You try to give the answer. Create empty dataset operator. What's the reason? Because as per the requirement, I want to create the conform zone dataset. I want to create the semantic zone dataset. For that reason, I am going to use the operator called as a BigQuery create empty dataset operator. After that, I want to create the internal table and I want to create the external table. Whenever you want to create the internal table, here we are going to use the operator called as a BigQuery create empty table operator. With the help of this, you can able to create the internal table. In the same way, if you want to create the external table, we are going to use the one more operator called as a BigQuery create external table operator. By using this, you can able to create the external table by depending on our requirement. Now you tell me from where we can able to get all this information. Just to go to Google and you can able to search for Airflow BigQuery operators. With that, you can able to get the module or you can able to get the library. At the same time, you can able to see the multiple operators within the BigQuery. But whatever the operators is required, only that operator we are going to include as part of our DAG. In the same way, as part of this requirement, I want to use the GCS operators also. Within the GCS, if you observe, I imported 2 libraries and By using the first library, we are going to create the bucket by using the operator called as a GCS create bucket operator. After that, we need to copy the data from one bucket to other bucket. For that reason, we are going to use the operator called as a GCS to GCS operator. By using these two operators, we are going to perform all required operations on top of your GCS service. In the same way, if you observe, we are using the one more operator called as a bash operator. Purpose of this bash operator is nothing but to run any kind of Unix commands or to run our cloud SDK commands. So whatever the cloud SDK commands earlier we discussed, Randy, if you want to run all those cloud SDK commands, otherwise, if you want to run any kind of Unix commands by depending on our requirement, then what we can do here? Here we are going to use the operator called as a bash operator. As part of this example, we are performing one of the cloud SDK operation. To understand that, just I imported the bash operator indirectly. As per the requirement, we are importing all these modules and we are importing all these operators. With that, we can able to achieve our end-to-end requirement. All these operations we are performing in the section 1. After that, in the section 2, as we discussed earlier, what we are doing here? We are defining our required variables only. Now, as part of using all these operators, we need to use the project ID, we need to use the region. For that reason, instead of giving these hardcode values for each and every task, I am defining it as a variable at the high level. And whenever we are giving this as a variable here, what will happen? Same variable we can able to use across all the tasks only. For that reason, here we are giving the project ID. My project name is Qt sample. We are giving region. My region is US-Central 1. After that, we are assigning all these variables into our default args. You try to recap. What is the purpose of default args? You did the practice on DAG 1 and DAG 2. Now you try to give the answer. What is the purpose of the default arguments? Whatever the default arguments which we are going to define in the DAG and D, same default arguments we can able to use across all the tasks. Okay, we are going to create 10 to 12 number of tasks. In all those 10 to 12 tasks, my requirement is I want to use the same argument. For the reason, we are assigning these arguments to the default argument, and then we are linking this default argument to the DAG object. With that, what will happen? All these default arguments are going to be useful across each and every task. Okay, in every task, no need to create the arguments separately because we are assigning all these arguments into the default arguments. After that, we are linking this default arguments to the DAG object. With that, whatever the task we are going to create, in every task, it is going to use all these kind of variables. With that, it will perform all our required operations. Okay. Any questions again up here, please ask me. And if you observe, as of now, we are not discussing any new topic in the DAG and D. In the section 1, we are importing all the required libraries. In the section 2, we are creating the variables and we are defining our DAG object, except that we are not doing any new operations on top of our DAG. But if you have any questions, please ask me here. Okay. If no questions, now we'll create one by one task only. What is the first task? As per the requirement, I want to create the bucket to copy the files from the existing bucket to the new bucket. Whenever you want to create the task, what we have to do here? We need to give the task variable. After that, we need to use the task operator, and within the task operator, we have to pass the required arguments. And if you want to use this operator, what are the required arguments we need to pass? For every task, by default, we have to give it as a task ID. Here I'm given the task ID name is nothing but create new bucket. After that, we need to give the one more argument called as a bucket name. Why we need to give the bucket name? By using this operator, I want to create the bucket. If you want to create the bucket, you have to give the bucket name. That's the reason here we are given the bucket name is nothing but U4 B2. Now you tell me, if you are going to perform the practice by using this DAG, you have to give the same bucket name or you need to give the different bucket name. Any guesses? What is the rule we need to follow whenever we are going to create the buckets?
Unique bucket names we have
Your
to
bucket name should be globally unique, which is nothing but if all the people are going to give the same bucket name, automatically what will happen? Your DAG will fail. For that reason, after sharing this DAG to you, please do the required changes. One of the changes is nothing but you have to change your project ID, you have to change the region. That is one thing. Other than that, as part of this task, you have to give your required bucket ID. You have to give For example, give the prefix or suffix as your name. With that, your bucket name would be unique. With that, your task will execute without having any error. If you are going to run the same DAG as is without doing the changes, automatically what will happen? You can able to get the errors. Okay, that's the reason. Please change the bucket name after sharing this DAG to you. But in this step, what I'm doing here, just I'm creating the bucket by using the operator called as a GCS create bucket operator. After that, my requirement is after creation of the bucket, I want to copy the files from the GCS bucket to the target bucket. Now, what is my source bucket? If you remember, my source bucket name is U4B1. This is my source bucket. This is my target bucket. That information we have to give within this operator. So again, in this operator, we have to give the task ID. You have to give some name. After that, my source bucket is U4B1. Coming to source object. Here in the source object, we have to specify the complete path ID. In the U4B1, in the source folder, we are having the CSV files. My requirement is I want to copy all the CSV files from U4B1 to U4B2. For that reason, we are giving the star.csv. For example, your requirement is you want to copy only one file. Then what we have to do here? You need to provide the complete file name. But in this my example, I want to copy the 5 files at a time. If you want to copy one by one file, you need to create total 5 number of tasks. But my requirement is I want to create all 5 CSV files at a time. For that reason, here I am giving the star.csv. In which bucket you want to copy? Destination bucket. U4B2. So that is the reason in this operator we have to give the source bucket, source object, and destination object. All these are the inputs we need to provide as part of using our GCS to GCS operator. With the help of this operator, we are copying the files from one bucket to other bucket. Okay. Any questions on these two GCS operators? Please ask me here. Okay. Now tell me if you are going to perform the modification here. Where in which places we have to perform the same modification? This is the bucket name we are giving. If you are going to perform the modification in this bucket, at the same time you have to change the destination bucket also, because this name you are changing by using the prefix or suffix only. For that reason, please change the bucket name wherever it requires. Here we have to change the bucket name, and here also you have to change the bucket name. Otherwise, what will happen? Again, you will get the errors. Okay. After that, what is the requirement? In the BigQuery, I want to create the confirm zone data set. Now tell me if you want to create the confirm zone data set, we need to use the GCS operator or we need to use the BigQuery operator? We have to use the BigQuery operator. What is the operator we are using here? We are using the operator called as a BigQuery create empty dataset operator. For this operator also, again we have to give the task ID. After that, we need to provide the one more requirement called as a required argument called as a dataset ID. Whatever the name you want to specify to your BigQuery dataset, that is the name we need to pass here. Now you tell me, do we need to follow any global unique rule on top of your BigQuery datasets? Do we have any such kind of rules?
No, sir.
There is no such kind of rule. Only for bucket we are having that rule. That's the reason for data set, just for naming convention, if you want, you can give the same CZ. Here also you can give the same SZ. No need to do any changes on the data set names only. Only for bucket name, please do the required change. After that, come into BigQuery side, come into data set. No need to perform any kind of changes. And tell me, come into source bucket. Do you need to perform any changes? Target bucket, I told you, you have to perform the changes. What about the source bucket? You have to give the same source bucket or you have to give the different source bucket?
Different.
Obviously, you have to give the different source bucket ID, because this is also globally unique. Whenever we are talking about the bucket ID, it is unique across all the globe. For that reason, as part of creating your bucket, source bucket, you have to give some different naming convention. That name you have to pass within the DAG. Okay, please remember all these statements only. Without doing all these changes, if you are going to run the same DAG, what will happen? You will get the error. Once we are going to get the error, what will happen? You will not get the interest to perform the practicals. And for that reason, please try to follow my each and every statement, whatever I am telling. As part of doing the practicals, please try to apply all these statements and do the required changes wherever it requires. With that, you can able to run the end-to-end flow without having any kind of issues. Okay. After that, here we need to create the CZ data set and we need to create the semantic zone data set. And if you observe here, in each and every operator, what is the common argument we are giving? In each and every operator, what is the common argument we are passing? If you observe, task ID, task ID, task ID, task ID. Now you try to recap. This is the one more point we discussed in the previous class ID. What is the purpose of task ID? What is the purpose of this task ID argument? To define the dependency or to display the task name in the Airflow console?
To display the task name in
task
the
name in the
Yes, correct. Andy. So to display task name in the Airflow console, we are using the argument called as a task ID. Now one more question. At the end of the DAG, we need to define the dependencies, right? As part of defining the dependencies, which one we need to use out of this whole statement? In this whole statement, we need to give the task ID, or we need to give the dataset ID, or we need to give this variable, or we need to give this information as part of creation of the dependency at the end of the task, at the end of the DAG.
Task
task
ID. Task
You have to give this one and task variable. Okay, this is the task variable. Create underscore CZ underscore dataset. Whatever the variable you are defining here, this is the variable you need to pass on top of your task dependency. Some people are thinking that we need to provide the task ID. That is not a correct statement. This task ID we are using for the purpose of displaying the task name in the Airflow console. But in the DAG, if you want to define the dependencies, here we have to use the task variable. What is the task variable here? This is your task variable. Copy underscore files is the task variable. Create underscore SZ underscore dataset is a task variable. So these the task variables we are giving at the end of the DAG to define the dependencies, and don't get the confusion. So here we have to give everything properly. Otherwise, what will happen? Again, you are going to get the errors as part of running your DAGs. Okay. Any confusion on this statement, please ask me here. Again, I'm repeating. As part of defining the DAG, you have to use the task variable. And this task ID, how it is going to be useful to you? While displaying the task name in the console, whatever the value we are giving in the task ID, that value will populate on top of your Airflow console. Please try to understand the difference between the task ID and the task variable. Otherwise, you will get the confusion. Okay. Now, one more thing, tell me. Here I'm given the task variable and task ID value, both I'm given the same values only. But is it mandatory? Task variable and task name, both the places I'm giving it as a same name. Create new bucket, create new bucket. Is it mandatory?
No, it is not mandatory, but
It's not mandatory, Andy. Only for my convenience, I'm giving it as a task variable and task ID, both are as a same name. By seeing this, again, don't get the confusion. We have to follow the same naming convention. We don't have any such kind of rule. For example, here if you want, I can give it as a create underscore new underscore bucket. Nothing will happen, Andy, because this we are using only for displaying the task name in the Airflow console. But if you want to define the dependencies at the end of the DAG, we have to use the task variable. Okay. Any questions up to here? Again, please ask me. We discussed about all these four operators so far, and we are discussing the difference between the task variable and task ID. Any questions up to here?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, please.
The copy files in the source object, we defined source slash the path, right?
Yes.
So the source file is already created, or are we creating it?
We need to create. This is the prerequisite, right? If you see the use case, Andy. So in the use case, what I'm telling here, you are having the source bucket. In the source bucket, you need to have all the required files from where we are starting our operations. From here, from this step onwards, which is nothing but what is the prerequisite here? You need to create the source bucket in your GCS service, and in that bucket you have to create one folder called as a source folder. In that source folder, we have to maintain all these files. That is the prerequisite for the purpose of doing this entire use case.
So okay, before this, the DAX, it is not present in the whatever the code we are writing. We have to pre-build in the bucket one.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now see here, after creation of our confirm zone dataset and semantic zone datasets, Andy. Now what is the requirement? I need to create total 4 confirm zone external tables. For that reason, here we are using the operator called as a BigQuery create external table operator. try to understand for one table. If you can able to understand this for one table, same operation we are going to repeat for the 4 different external tables. And that's the reason, please try to understand one external table end to end. With that, all remaining external tables you can able to perform easily. So here we are given the operator called as a BigQuery create external table operator. Again, we have to give the task ID, that is the one of the argument. After that, as part of creation of the external table, what is the meaning of external table? If you remember, try to give the answer. As part of external table, where we are going to maintain the data, in the BigQuery or in the GCS?
GCS.
Outside of the BigQuery. In this example, we can able to say in the GCS we are going to maintain our data, or we are going to maintain the files, and which is nothing but whenever you are going to create the external table, obviously we have to specify in which location or in which external location you are having the data or you are having the file. For that reason, if you observe, we are given the information for bucket name and we are given the information for the source object. Here we copied the files into the second bucket. That's the reason I am giving the bucket name is nothing but U4 B2 and source file name is nothing but in this bucket, in the source folder, we are copying the file called as a customer_lo.csv file. On top of this file, we are creating the external table. That's the reason we are putting all this information in these arguments, and you have to give the what is the bucket name from where it need to take the file and what is the source file. All that information we are giving in these 2 arguments. At the same time, in the file, we are going to have the header. I want to skip the header. For that reason, we are giving the one more argument called as a skip_leading_rows. And we are giving it as a equal to 1. Once we are given the 1, what will happen? It is skipping the first row on top of your file. At the same time, as part of creation of the external table, you have to specify the table name and you need to specify the data set name. For that reason, we are given the one more argument called as a destination_project_dataset table. This is the argument. In this argument, we have to specify dataset name dot table name, and this is the way we need to provide all the required arguments on top of our BigQuery external table. One more important thing, whenever you are going to create the external table, what we have to do here, we need to provide the schema. To provide the schema, here we are using the one more argument called as a schema_fields. In this, we need to specify column name, data type. For each and every column, we have to give the column name and we need to provide the data type and we need to provide the mode. With all this information, you are going to define the schema. Once we are giving all this information, then only what will happen? By using this operator, your DAG will create the external table on top of your BigQuery service. Okay. Any question on top of this whole operator or this class, please ask me here.
Sir, I have a query actually.
Yeah,
Suppose here is we have a list number of schema and column names, but
Yes.
we have like around 100.
If you are going to have the 100 columns or 1000 columns, then what we'll do here is instead of putting all the column names in the DAG, we will create a JSON file separately. That JSON file will upload into the GCS bucket. That path we are going to give it to the one more argument here. Here, by considering only the few columns, we are giving all these values directly within the DAG. Your question is completely valid. If you are going to deal with the 100 columns or 200 columns only, in that situation, instead of giving all the column names here, what we will do here, we are creating a JSON file separately. In that JSON file, we are going to put all the columns information in the same way. But in the DAG, instead of giving the column names individually, what we will do now? We are going to provide the JSON path, and with the help of the JSON path, it will read all the column names from the GCS bucket. With that, it will create the table. If you remember, we did the similar kind of operations as part of our BigQuery also. In the BigQuery, if you remember, whenever we are going to provide the schema like this, and this kind of schema, what we can able to call?
Inline schema.
Sorry?
Inline schema.
Yeah, perfect answer. This kind of schema we can able to call it as a inline schema. Whenever we are given the schema directly within the command, that we can able to call it as a inline schema. What is the one more option we discussed at that time? Instead of inline schema, we can able to create the JSON file with the entire structure. That JSON file we can able to give it as input to the command. Same concept we can able to apply here also. Instead of giving all the column names like this, you can able to create a JSON file. That JSON file you can able to upload into the GCS bucket. That path you have to provide on top of your schema fields. With that, you can able to simplify the DAG when we are dealing with the more number of columns as per the requirement. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Is there any other option like this .csv file has a
No other
header
option.
which has
No other
column
option.
names, so
No,
that
one
auto
more
detect
option
the
is you can able to give the auto detect. So we are having that
Auto
option,
detect,
right?
okay.
Auto detect. If you are given the auto detect, it is going to detect the column structure automatically. It is going to detect the data types also automatically. So with that, by enabling the auto detect argument here, you can able to perform the operations without defining the JSON file or without defining the inline schema.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Now this is for one national table. Now in the same way, how many national tables we have to create total? We need to create total 4 different national tables as part of our CZ database. And for that reason, if you see here, I am defining one more table called as a customer underscore NY table. We are reading the data from customer NY.csv. In the same way, we are creating the one more national table called as a salesman underscore LO table. We are reading the data from salesman LO.csv. In the same way, we are creating the one more table called as a salesman underscore NY table. For this, we are reading the data from the salesman underscore NY.csv. Like this, once you understand one national table, how to create by using these operators, same operation we are going to repeat for 4 different tables by using the different arguments. And if you observe here I am giving the argument as a salesman underscore NY underscore national table. Here we are giving salesman underscore LO underscore national table. We need to change the task name and you need to change your external table name. You need to change your file name. With the required minimal changes, you can able to define all the operators for 4 different external tables. Okay. Any questions on these 4 external tables, please ask me. Intentionally, I am not explaining about remaining 3 external tables and I don't want to waste the time here. We'll discuss about some more topics if you are having the time. Once you understand one external table, same operations we are going to perform for all the remaining external tables in the same way as part of your DAG. But if anyone have any questions on top of this external table, please ask me here, we'll discuss.
Destination underscore project underscore that's the user defined variable or predefined variables, sir?
No, all these are nothing but the predefined variables within the operator. So this is the operator we are using. In this operator, whatever the variables we are using, all these are the predefined variables which are coming as part of our BigQuery create external table operator.
Okay, thank you.
And for this argument, you have to give the information. What is the information we need to give in the BigQuery? In which data set? What is the table you need to create? That's the reason we are giving it as a CZ is my data set name and giving CZ dot table name is nothing but salesman underscore NY. That is the information we are passing for this argument.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, no issues. Any other questions?
The task ID and the next line is to create the table. And the bucket and source objects is how to load the table from the
yes,
source.
Exactly. From which
From
file you want to load the data.
So it is going to read like the bucket name and the source object from the bucket.
Exactly. Actually, if you remember, when we are giving the commands, what we are doing, we have to give it as a gs:// you have to give the source. Sorry, you need to give the bucket name. For example, here u4b2 / then we need to give the folder / then we have to define the file name is, for example, customer underscore lo.csv. We are giving this information when we are using the commands, but here we are not using the Cloud SDK commands. What we are using here, we are using our BigQuery, we are using the Airflow operators. In the Airflow operators, we have to give the bucket name separately. We need to provide the source path separately. That's the reason we are giving the 2 different arguments on top of this operator.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. Any other questions, Steve? Okay, if no questions, Sandy, now see here. So far, what we are doing, we are creating the 4 different external table. But coming to 5th table, what is the requirement? I want to create the internal table only. So for that reason, what we are going to do here is we are going to create the internal table by using this approach. If you see, try to give the answer what we are doing here. Without giving the explanation from my side, you just read this statement and try to understand what activity we are doing on top of this internal table. Orders internal table. Am I using the BigQuery operator or directly I am using the bash operator here?
Bash operator.
I am using the bash operator. If you want, what we can do here is we can able to create the internal table by using this operator. And we are having the operator called as a BigQuery create empty table operator. By using this operator, you can able to create the internal table on top of our DAG. But just I want to show you how we can able to run. So now tell me here, what type of command it is? BQ load -- source format auto detect. What type of command it is?
Load
BQ comments.
BQ load.
BQ.
This is the Cloud
Yes,
SDK
Cloud
BQ
SDK.
command and earlier we discussed the BigQuery by using all these commands. Just I want to show you how we can able to use the same Cloud SDK BQ commands by using the Airflow. In the Airflow, we can able to give the direct Cloud SDK commands and whatever the Cloud SDK commands we discussed in the GCS or BigQuery or Dataproc, you can able to run the same Cloud SDK commands in the Airflow also. But whenever you want to run the Cloud SDK commands, here what is the operator we need to use? We need to use the operator called as a bash operator. Now you try to give the answer. What is the purpose of the bash operator? This is the one of the interview question actually.
We pass the Unix commands.
To
Cloud
pass
is when
Unix commands,
Unix commands.
or if you want to pass any kind
Cloud
of Cloud SDK commands and in such kind of requirements, what we can do here, we can go for the bash operator. Don't ask me the question, sir, why we are not doing this operation by using the BigQuery. I am only telling, if you want, we can able to create the same table by using the BigQuery create empty table operator. But just I want to cover the one more example or one more operator within the same use case. For the reason, instead of using the BigQuery operator, I'm using the operator called as a bash operator. In this operator, by giving this command, we can able to perform the data load operation on top of your cz.orders table. And now if you observe here, in this command, we are giving the bucket and path separately, we are giving all together.
All together.
Just now someone asked the question, right? So here we are giving a complete path all together, bucket name including your path. But if you want to give it in the operator, then we have to give the bucket name separately and we need to give the object name separately. But if you are giving it in the command, then we have to give the complete command including the complete path only. With that, it can able to clear the table. It will load the data also on top of your table. Okay. Now, if anyone thinking, sorry, skipping this BigQuery create empty table operator, I'm not skipping. And if you observe here, coming to SGL, what is the requirement? I want to create the retail summary table. In this retail summary table, what type of table we need to create? I want to create the internal table on top of the retail summary. Now, in this example, if you observe, what I'm using to create the internal table? I am using the BigQuery create empty table operator. Indirectly, I am trying to show you the use case, how we can able to create the internal table with the help of the bash operator, how we can able to create the internal table with the help of the BigQuery operator. In the both the combinations, I am trying to explain how we can able to create our internal tables by using our Airflow. And here, this is the result summary internal table. Now, for this one, we are given the dataset ID is nothing but SJ, table ID is nothing but result underscore summary. This is my table name. This is my data set name. For this internal table, this is the schema I want to create. Now you tell me, as part of this operation, we are only creating the table or we are loading the data also by using these lines of the code.
Only creating the table.
This is the internal table. Internal table is nothing but it is creating the only structure. After creation of the structure, you need to load the data. Now you try to do the answer. As part of this example, into the summary table, how to load the data? Just think about, you are working in the BigQuery. In the BigQuery console, you want to load the data from the CZ table to the SZ table by applying the unions and by applying the joins. And in the situation, how we are going to perform the loading operation from CZ dataset to SZ dataset?
Insert into.
Yeah, perfect. Insert into your select statement. In the select statement, you need to apply the unions, you need to apply the joins, you need to apply the aggregation, you need to apply the collapse function. All those operations we are applying on top of the select statement. On top of that, we are going to apply the insert statement. Now, to run that, I am going to use again the bash operator. And here, with the help of the bash operator, we are giving BQ. Whenever you want to run the query, what's the command? BQ query use underscore legacy SQL is equal to false. Then we are going to provide all the insert statement. Already we discussed about the same query multiple times in the previous use case. And same query we are going to use for the purpose of loading the data into our SZ table. Here we are creating SZ internal table. After that, we are loading the data into our SZ internal table. Like this, we need to create all the required tasks on top of this end-to-end use case. Okay. Any questions again on top of all these tasks? Please ask me.
So can you show the start date?
Yeah, tell me.
Okay. Schedule interval is different from start date, right? So the format.
Yeah, schedule interval is nothing but we are defining at what time you want to trigger the job. Here my requirement is I want to run this DAG every day one time only. That's the reason here we are giving it as a schedule interval as days is equal to 1, which is nothing but every day one time this DAG is going to run. Now for example, you want to run it weekly once or weekly once or monthly once only. In the situation here we can able to do some kind of changes. With that you can able to change the interval or your job scheduling by depending on our requirement. What is the purpose of start date? From which date onwards you want to trigger your DAG, that is the information we are giving under the start date.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Any other questions on the task side? If you observe overall here, Andy, we are not discussing any new topic here. You know the BigQuery, you know BigQuery external table, you know BigQuery internal table, you know BigQuery commands, and you know GCS bucket, you know how to copy the files from the one bucket to other bucket. Only thing what we are doing here is we are doing the same operations by using the orchestration tool called as a Airflow, except that we are not performing any other operations as part of this entire use case. But if you are having any confusions or questions, please ask me. We'll discuss about those.
Sir, can I load the data also using the BigQuery create empty operator?
Yeah, you can use. No. By using this create empty table operator, you cannot able to load the data, because whenever we are given the create empty table operator, what it means indirectly is a kind of a internal table. Okay. Whenever you are going to use the internal table, we cannot able to point it to the external GCS location. We need to load the data manually. For that reason, here we are going to apply the bash operator.
Okay,
But
means
coming to
I
external,
have only one option, bash operator.
sorry, come again.
I have only one option for bash operator.
Yes, correct. Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah. Any other questions? Okay, if no questions, just observe here. After creation of all the tasks, what's the next requirement? We need to define the dependencies. And here what I'm doing is I'm given the task variables here. First one, I want to create the bucket. Without bucket, we cannot able to copy the file. That's the reason we are giving the dependency. Create the bucket. After that, I want to copy the files. Once files are copied, then I want to create the CZ bucket. Once the CZ data set is ready in the BigQuery, then I want to create 5 external tables, and also I want to load the data into all the tables. And for that reason, if you observe here, I am giving all this task information within the square brackets. If you remember in the DAG2 we discussed already, whenever we are giving all these task names in the square bracket, what it means indirectly? Whomever did the practice on the DAG2, please try to do the answer.
Run parallel.
It is going to run all the jobs in parallel. So once this data set is going to create, after that all these jobs are going to run in parallel. After running all these jobs, then what is my requirement? I want to create the semantic zone data set. After creation of semantic zone data set, then I want to create the result summary internal table. On top of that, I want to perform the loading operation. Okay, so we know what is the dependency between each and every job. Based on that, we are defining the whole dependency on top of my DAG and D. This is the way we need to create the complete DAG on top of this entire use case. Now, once we are going to deploy this DAG into the Airflow, then you can able to see the diagram like this. So this is the diagrammatic representation, and so once we are going to deploy the DAG, if in the Airflow console, you can able to see the DAG graph. In the graph, we can able to see all the information like this. We are having the create bucket, copy file, then creating the CZ data set. Then we are creating all the tables and loading the data. After that, we are creating the SJ data set. Then we are creating the result summary table. On top of that, we are going to load the data into our result summary table. This whole diagram we can able to see after deploying our DAG into our Airflow DAGs. Okay, this is the way we need to understand how we can able to see the diagrams on top of our Airflow console. Now you try to give the answer. For the purpose of doing this entire use case, what all are the prerequisites?
Create bucket.
Need to create a bucket and
we need to create the bucket. In the bucket, we need to maintain the source folder. In the source folder, we need to copy the files. Okay. Other than that, do we need to create the data prop cluster here?
No.
Is there any requirement for the data prop cluster?
No.
There is no requirement and so here this is the complete use case we are doing by using the GCS and BigQuery. In the previous examples we discussed about the Dataproc jobs and Dataproc workflows and every example is different, don't get the confusion. In this example by using the BigQuery, by using the GCS, I want to perform the end-to-end operation. For the reason no need to create any data proc clusters and only you have to create a GCS bucket and you need to provide the source folder. In the source folder you need to maintain all the CSV files. With that we can able to achieve the requirement. And one more thing, in few minutes I will share this Excel sheet. Please try to understand the Excel sheet like this and what is the source, next what we are doing, then where we are loading the data, then finally where we are loading the data, and what all are the buckets we are using here in this example, which all are the external tables and which all are the internal tables, and what all are the steps we are going to perform. I mentioned each and everything here. After that I mentioned what is the prerequisite. Please follow all these instructions carefully, otherwise what will happen, you will get multiple errors and to fix all those errors it will take very good amount of time for you. For that reason please follow all the instructions properly. With that you can able to perform this end-to-end use case without having any kind of issues. Okay, now from my side what I will do here is I will share this Excel sheet. This is the first thing. At the same time I will share the source folder. In the source folder you can able to see all these files and here you can able to see one file called as a dummy file. For now please forget about this dummy file and don't remove this file also, because in the next example I want to cover one more scenario by using the sensor operator. That's the reason I kept this file here. If you want you can remove for now, but if you are not going to remove also nothing is going to happen. So what I will do here is I will zip this file and I will send it to you. So just I'm repeating again, in this folder we are having a source folder. Within the source folder we are having the CSV file. From your side you need to create one bucket. Now tell me, in that bucket you need to upload the folder or you need to upload the individual files?
Upload the folder.
Please upload the complete folder, because in our code here we given the folder path. If you see I given the path as a source /ND. For that reason please create the bucket. After that please upload the folder, then you can able to run this folder without having any issues. And I will share these two folder and file in the zip file format. After that I will share this DAG also to you. Now in this DAG what modifications you need to perform?
It's a change the bucket name.
Change the project ID, change the region, whatever the region you are working. After that please change the bucket name. Wherever we are having the U4B2, please change this with your bucket name. And coming to source bucket, whatever the name you are giving, please give that name only. So with that you can able to run end-to-end use case without having any kind of issues. Okay, just 1 second, I will share this information to you. Is it interesting or boring? This is the end-to-end scenario only. So in the real time also you are going to create the similar kind of DAGs by depending on our requirements. If you are interested, well and good. If not interested, please try to get the interest to understand all these things. So I send the zip file and I'm sharing the DAG also. Okay, so please try to replicate this end-to-end use case in your system only. I will give 5 minutes of time. It won't take more than 5 minutes. So whatever the steps we discussed, please try to follow the same steps. With that, you can able to achieve the requirement. Now tell me where we need to keep this DAG. Where we need to place this DAG, whatever the DAG I shared with you. Please open your Airflow Composer. In the Airflow Composer, you can able to see DAG folder path. Please go to the path. In that path, you need to upload your DAG file. Once we are uploading the DAG file, then we need to open the Airflow console, and in the Airflow console, you can able to get the DAG name automatically. With that, you can able to see how it is running on top of your Airflow console. If anyone needs support, please follow my instructions in my screen, and if you understood all these steps already, you can continue. But if anyone having the questions, we need to go to our Airflow bucket. So this is my Airflow bucket. In this Airflow bucket, we need to upload the DAG file. Click on the upload files. Okay, I uploaded the file here. Now, if you see my buckets, in the buckets, I don't have any bucket called as a. I am having U4B2. I am removing this. Okay, if you observe here, in my buckets, I'm having the only source bucket U4B1. In this bucket, I'm having the source folder. In the source folder, we can able to see all the 5 files, whatever we discussed. All the files are here. Indirectly, my prerequisites are ready. At the same time, I declared the DAG into my DAG folder. Now we need to go to the Airflow console. This is my Airflow console. Immediately, can we able to see the DAG, or it will take some amount of time?
Time.
30 to 45
30 to
seconds.
40 seconds of time only. So please wait for some time. Sometimes it is taking more than 30 seconds. Any guesses? What is the reason? Anyone? Any guesses? What is the reason? Why it is taking more than 30 to 40 seconds? I will discuss about that separately. Now, if you observe here, this job is running and it got failed. We'll see what is the reason. So whenever you want to see what is the reason for failure, just you can able to click on the DAG. Please go to the graph. In graph, please click on the fail task. In the fail task, please go to the log. Might be someone created the bucket with the U4B2 name. That's the reason it's not allowing me to create the bucket. We'll see that. Did anyone created the bucket with the U4B2 name? Just 1 second. Okay, so for some reason it is not capturing this info. Just 1 second, I will open this one again, console. Other people, you can continue from your side. Please change your bucket name and please continue from your side. So whatever the name I given, I think someone already created the bucket with that name. So might be I'm assuming that is the reason for the failure. Okay, it is not capture the logs only. Now anyone, any guesses how we can able to run this DAG manually? Actually, we have scheduled this DAG. Just this is the one example I want to cover because of this failure. Now my requirement is I want to run this DAG manually. I don't want to follow the schedule. I want to run this DAG manually. So what we can do? Any idea?
Yes, sir. Can you click on the DAG name?
If you see here, beside the DAG, right side, you can able to see the run option only. If you want, we can able to perform the manual run by depending on our requirement. Just click on this run button. It is asking trigger the DAG. Just click on that. With that, manually, whenever you want, we can able to trigger the DAG by depending on our requirement. Again, this is the one more interview question only. Can we able to trigger the DAGs manually? Obviously, yes, because here we have to click on this button. With that, we can able to run the DAG by depending on our convenience. Okay, now it's succeeded. If you observe here we can able to see the status study, how many are success. Everyone please see my screen just for 1 minute. Here we can able to see how many are success, how many are in running, how many are not yet started. All that kind of information we can able to see on the console. Now we are having total 11 jobs only. For that reason, we are having the good chance to see all this information. Now 2 jobs are succeeded and 5 are in progress. Why 5 are in progress suddenly? Because we define the parallel task, right? For that reason, 5 jobs are running in parallel and 3 jobs are pending. Like that, you can able to see all the DAX information, status, everything on top of this console itself. Now, if you click on this, in the graph also, we can able to see this information. Now see. First one succeeded, second one succeeded, third one succeeded. Then it triggered all the 5 jobs in parallel. After completion of all the 5 jobs, then it is going to trigger the next one. With that, it is going to complete all the end-to-end tasks.
From here also we can trigger the DAG, right?
Yeah, here also. So wherever you are seeing this run option, by click on this, you can able to perform the job trigger manually. But tell me, for example, if you are performing any kind of changes in the DAG, then can we trigger this directly? No, right?
No, first of all, we have to refresh our DAGs.
Exactly. So we need to refresh our DAG and we need to upload the DAG into the DAG folder again one more time because you did the changes in the DAG. For that reason, you need to upload the DAG into our DAGs folder. With that, it will try to fetch the latest code. With that, you can able to perform the rerun by depending on our convenience. And every people, one more thing, and if you observe here, now end-to-end my pipeline is completed. Now, for example, if you want to see the code, actually, what we are doing till now, we are going to the notepad and there we are seeing all the code. But within the Airflow also, we are having the option to see the code only in the Airflow window. Just if you see here, we have the option for the code. Just click on that. Once you click on that, then you can able to see the code of the DAG. Whatever the code you have written, you can able to see the whole DAG, whole code here. If you want, you can able to refer it from the notepad also. Otherwise, instead of going to the notepad window, in the windows only, in the Airflow console only, by click on the code, you can able to see the entire code. It's very simple and out of this whole window, we are going to use the graph. In that graph, we can able to see the status of your each and every task. You can able to see the task, okay? And one more thing, as part of doing the practice, please click on any button. Nothing is going to happen. If anything is going to happen, what we can do here, simply you can able to delete your composer, whatever you created, except that nothing is going to happen. For that reason, you can play anything on top of this console. just explore all the options. What is the grid? What is the graph? What is the code? What is the Gantt chart? So like that, try to click on each and every button. With that, you can able to explore yourself with your own hands only. With that only, you can able to get the clear picture. What all are the options we are having on top of our Airflow console. Okay. Now you can observe here what happened. My end-to-end pipeline is completed. Now this is the advantage of our Airflow. We can able to see complete DAG in the diagrammatic representation. But tell me, do we have this feature in the Dataproc cluster? In the Dataproc cluster, you can define the dependencies, but we cannot able to schedule the things at the same time. We cannot able to see the graphical representation of your job dependencies. But in the orchestration tool, we are having this feature. With this feature, we can able to schedule the jobs. Otherwise, we can able to see the dependency between the jobs in the diagrammatic format. This is the one advantage as part of using our Airflow console or Airflow orchestration tool. Anyone facing any issues? Don't give me the answers, or for me, Composer is not created. Multiple times I told you already. If Composer 2 is not working, try to go with the Composer 1. If Composer 1 also not working, please take the credentials of your friend account. With that, you can able to perform this whole practice. If you are not having any friends, please try to understand what I am discussing on the screen. With that, try to capture the information.
Sir, I want to share one thing with all my friends. While creating the DAG code, actually, we have to maintain the proper indentation, right? Actually, that is the main thing while creating the DAG code.
Yes, correct. I agree. So actually, this is not for the DAG. This is for the Python. Whenever you are going to write the kind of a Python code, you have to maintain the indentation. So indentation is nothing but in each and every line, whatever the space we are giving, we are not giving this only for the time pass purpose. And this is the mandatory. If you are going not following all these kind of spaces in the Python, you are going to get the errors. This we can able to call it as an indentation as part of the Python programming.
And the other thing also, when we are updating something on our code, whether that code has been updated or not, also we can check in the code tab.
Yeah, that is the intention of code tab, correct.
These two I know, so I just want to share with them
you.
also.
Yeah, definitely that is useful to everyone. And one more important thing, just I want to let you know to everyone. Now tell me, for example, this is the DAG which I am creating. I given the DAG ID like this. Now, if I'm going to give the assignment to you, obviously what you will do, you will copy some code from here. In the situation, you need to change this DAG name or you have to give the same name. If you are going to create one more DAG with your own hands, then you have to change the DAG ID or you have to give the same DAG ID, whatever I'm sharing in the each and every DAG. Please change the DAG IDs only, because in the Airflow, your DAG IDs are going to act as a unique value. Now, for example, if you see here in my console, in my bucket, I'm having total 4 different DAGs. In every DAG, I'm given the different naming convention for the DAG ID. For the reason, I am seeing all the 4 DAGs here. For example, in all 4 DAGs, if I am going to give the same DAG ID, what will happen? In the console, you can able to see the only one DAG ID, which is nothing but in the bucket might be you are having the 4 different DAGs, but in every DAG, if you are going to provide the same DAG ID in the DAG object, then what will happen in the Airflow console? It will display only one DAG instead of the 4 DAGs. And for that reason, as part of given the DAG ID, please verify that is unique across within your bucket. If you are given the same DAG ID multiple times in the multiple DAGs only, then you cannot able to see the information properly on top of your Airflow console. Please take care of that. That is one thing. One more thing. Tell me, can we give the same task variable for the multiple tasks? Can we give same task variable for multiple tasks? For example, in the program, can we give a equal to 10 and a equal to 20? No, right? In the same way, here you should not able to give the same task ID multiple times only. If you are going to give the same task ID multiple times, what will happen? Obviously, it will throw the error. As part of importing this DAG into the Airflow console, then it will throw the error. So these are the some basic things you need to understand as part of writing the DAG or as part of uploading the DAG into the buckets folder. If anyone facing any issues, please let me know. Otherwise, we can go for some other topic. Okay. So did anyone succeeded or anyone facing any issues? No success, no failure. How many success? How many failures? Hope my voice is audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what happened? So no one getting interest to learn all these things, or it is
We are working on it, sir.
we are
Yeah,
working on it.
on it, sir. Yeah, working on it.
Yeah, thank you. So please be interactive only. So then only I will also get some kind of motivation to explain the different topics. If you are in the silent mode, what I will feel is you are not understanding the advanced concepts. Yeah, hi everyone. My voice is audible.
Yes,
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
some power cut here again. So that's the reason my net got disconnected. Actually, at my home, no power. So I came to institute to take this class. But in the institute also power gone. Just 1 minute only. I'm reconnecting to other network. Just 1 minute.
Okay.
Power please. Okay. Now just we'll continue with some other topics only. Just observe here again. Now, for example, we are having the file names like this: customer underscore elbow.csv and customer underscore ny.csv. Just for our understanding, so far we are taking all the file names like this only. But if you are going to work in the real-time projects, what will happen is you are going to get the file names like this: file name underscore date.csv. So this is the format we are going to get the files as part of our real-time projects. You will get the file name. At the same time, the file name will be appending with the date. After that, it is having the CSV or JSON or any naming convention. This is the file name template we are going to get as part of our real-time projects. We can able to see it as a file name underscore date format. then we can able to see it as a .csv. For example, here I'm giving customer underscore LO underscore. For example, we can get it as 2023-09-05.csv, or we can get it as a customer underscore LO underscore 2023-09-05.csv. Okay, or we can get it as customer underscore LO 09-05-2023. So like this, in any one of the format, we are going to get the files as part of our real-time projects. But so far, just for our easy understanding, we are taking the file names as a generic names only. But if you are going to work in the real-time projects, we are going to get the files in this naming format. Now tell me, in the real time, whatever the DAG which we created, it is going to run on daily basis or only once? It will run on daily basis or only once? Obviously, it is going to run on the daily basis only. Daily, we are going to deal with the single file, or every day we are going to get the different files? Every day we are going to get the different file. So to have the differentiation in the real time, we are going to see the file names like this: file name underscore date format dot csv. So this is the file name we can able to see as part of our real time projects. Okay. Now we need to understand one more thing here. Now, for example, in my bucket, my file is available. Then I want to trigger my job. Okay, so my requirement is here like this, Sandy. I want to verify whether my file is available in the bucket or not. My file is available in the bucket. If file is available in the bucket, then only I want to trigger my job. So this is the requirement. So here I want to see my source stream, for example. Just a source stream sending files to your source bucket. Whatever the source bucket we discussed in the previous use case, just assume that into this source bucket, your source team is sending all the files only. Now your requirement is you want to see whether files are landed or not. Once files are landed, then only you want to copy those files into the other bucket, which is nothing but indirectly I want to verify whether files are available in the bucket or not. If files are available, then only I want to trigger the job. Indirectly here, we need to verify, we need to see the bucket. In the bucket, we need to see whether files are available or not. If you want to perform all these kind of operations, Sandy, in the Airflow side, we are having one operator called as a sensor operators. So indirectly what we are sensoring here, I want to do the sensoring on top of my bucket. In the bucket, I want to see whether a particular file is available or not. If that particular file is available, then only I want to trigger the next task. That is the requirement. So whenever we are having such kind of requirement, then we are going to use the type of the operator called as nothing but sensor operator. Now here one more thing. As part of sensor operator, we are verifying, for example, file availability. Now I am triggering this job or this DAG at 10 AM. For example, at 10 AM, file is not available. Now tell me what will happen to your task. For this task, I am using my sensor operator. For this task, I am using sensor operator. Now file is not available. Actually, what will happen if file is not going to be available? Obviously, your job will fail. But tell me, every day exactly at 10 AM, our source team can able to send the file. Every day exactly at 10 AM, our source team can able to send the files. Sometimes what will happen? They will send it 10:1, or they will send it 10:5, or they are sending it 10:7, or they will send it 10:10. So sometimes, some days they are met with a delay also, Nandi. But we are having the SLA here. SLA is nothing but service level agreement. Agreement is nothing but before 10:10, I need to get all the files. That is the SLA. SLA is nothing but service level agreement. We are having the service level agreement with our source team only. What is the agreement here? By 10:10, I need to get all the files. But at what time we are scheduling the job here? At 10 AM only you are scheduling the DAG. Now at 10 AM this task is triggering. In the task we are having the sensor operator. This sensor operator is going to verify whether file is available or not. If file is not available, what will happen? Our job is going to fail. Okay. But here what I'm telling, sometimes we are going to get the files for 1 minute delay or 2 minutes delay or 7 minutes delay only. In this situation, how we can able to handle these kind of situations in the real time? How to handle these kind of situations in real time projects? Or before going to the solution, hope you understand the problem statement. And we are scheduling our job morning at 10 a.m. But sometimes what will happen is our files are getting at landing at 10:1 or 10:3 or 10:5 or 10:7, 10:8. We are not sure at what time our files are going to get, but we are planning to trigger the job at the 10 a.m. Now my requirement is after triggering the sensor operator at 10 a.m. if files are not available, I don't want to fail my job. So in the situation, how to handle such kind of requirements in the DAG, that is my problem statement. Any question on the problem statement, please ask me here. Problem statement is clear. Here by using sensor operator, I want to check whether files are available in a GCS bucket. If file is not available, I don't want to fail my job. What I want to be here, after 1 minute, I want to rerun. Okay, again if it got failed, then again after 1 minute, I want to rerun the job. So like this, I want to continue the runs till 10:10. After 10:10 also, if we are not receiving the file, then only I want to fail the job. So this is the way I want to build the sensor operator, and indirectly with the help of the sensor operator, we can able to scan whether file is available or not. Whether file is available or not, that is the first thing. If file is available, our job will success, then it will trigger the next task. But here my requirement is, if file is not available, I don't want to fail my job. I want to rerun the same task after 1 minute. After 1 minute also, if file is not available, then again I don't want to fail my task. I want to rerun the same task after 1 minute. Like that, till what time you want to rerun the task? Till 10:10 you want to rerun the task only. Till 10:10 also, if file is not available, then I want to fail the job. That is my requirement. To handle this kind of whole requirement, in the end process, we are going to use the operator called as a sensor operator. Now within the sensor operator, we are going to do some kind of arguments which are nothing but first one, retry. Retry for every 1 minute. That is the information we are giving. After that, we are giving one more parameter called as a timeout. Timeout is nothing but after how many minutes you want to perform the timeout operation. Earlier we discussed that till 10:10 I want to perform this operation. From 10 to 10:10, which is nothing but for 10 minutes I want to run the same job. For every 1 minute interval, I want to trigger the job. I want to verify the file. Till how many minutes you want to run the same way? Till 10 minutes. After 10 minutes also, if file is not available, then I want to fail my job only. So whenever you want to deal all these kind of requirements in our airflow side, we are going to use the operator called as a sensor operator. Now in the sensor operator, we are going to specify retry argument and we are going to specify timeout argument. At the same time, we are going to specify bucket argument and we are going to specify object argument. What's the reason? It need to verify whether file is available or not. For that reason, we have to specify in which bucket you want to see the file and what is your file name. All this information we have to specify in the sensor operator. With the help of the sensor operator, we can able to handle this kind of requirements only. And I can able to say this is again one of the interview question. At the same time, in the real time projects, regularly we are going to use this operator. In the real-time projects, regularly we are going to perform this kind of operation because in the real time, every day we are going to get the files into your source buckets. Sometimes what will happen, there is the delay for the file. That's the reason to handle this kind of situations in the real-time projects, we are going to use the sensor operator. Now we'll try to replicate the sensor operator on top of our use case. On our use case, what we'll do here is first one, in replicate sensor operator. That is one requirement. And other requirement is, if you observe here in the previous diagram, if you observe here, in this there, I am given the project ID and I am given the region values as a hardcode values. Now, for example, you are working in the dev environment. For example, you are working in dev environment. In dev environment, we are having one project ID. After that, you are migrating all this into the test environment. In the test environment, we are going to have the one more project ID. After that, we are moving into the UAT environment. In the UAT environment, you are having one more project ID. Now, if you are going to the prod environment, in the prod environment, again, we are going to see the one more project ID. Now, in each and every environment, we are going to see the different project ID only. Now, you tell me, in the dev environment, if you are going to perform the DAG deployment, then no change is required because we are using the same project ID. But tell me here, if you are going to perform the DAG deployment into the test environment, then what we have to do here? You have to change project ID because in the test environment, I am going to have the different project ID. For that reason, we need to open the DAG, we need to perform the change. After that, in the UAT environment, again as part of DAG deployment, we need to change the project ID. Again in the prod environment, we need to open the DAG, we need to change the project ID, which is nothing but in every environment, your project ID is going to change. For that reason, you have to do the required changes on top of your DAG because here in my code, I am hard coding the values for the project ID. I am hard coding the values for the region. For that reason, we need to do these changes for each and every environment ID. But I can able to say here, in every environment, if you are going to change project IDs manually, it's not a good practice. Okay. So to overcome this, we are going to use Airflow variables. So within the Airflow, we are having one option called as a variable concept ID. So with the help of this variable concept, what we can do here is, instead of hard coding the values here, in the Airflow console directly we can able to define the values ID. Just observe here, go to Airflow console. If you see the Airflow console, here if you see in the admin tab, you can able to see the option called as a variables. Here we can able to define the variables ID indirectly. Instead of defining the variables in that DAG, in the Airflow console itself, we are going to define the variable. If you click on this, now here by click on the plus button, you can able to add your variables by click on the plus button. Here you can able to provide the key. What is the key here? As per our example, I can able to say this is the key value. This key value we are passing here. After that, whatever the value you want to do to the project ID, that value we are giving under the value. In the same way, if you want to add the one more variable, you have to click on the plus button. There you have to give the key value as a region and value is nothing but US-central one. Like that, by depending on our requirement, you can able to add any number of variables on top of your Airflow console. Whenever you want to add the variables here in the Airflow console, we need to go to admin tab. In the admin tab, we need to click on the variable. By click on the variables here, we can able to add the variables. If you observe, already I added the variables called as a project ID QD sample and the region is nothing but US-central one. Now with this, what we are doing is, by using project variables, we can avoid hard coding the values in our DAGs. Now you will ask a question, sir, in the Airflow we given the variables, but how those variables will come to here? In the Airflow we given the variable, but as part of running the DAG, how it can able to come to here automatically? That is the one more use case we are going to cover only. Whatever the next example I am going to discuss. In that example, we are going to replicate the sensor operator. At the same time, we are going to use our Airflow variables. Please try to understand the statement. Same use case we are going to see by including sensor operator and Airflow variables. whatever the use case so far we discussed, we are going to use the same use case, but in that use case, we are going to use the sensor operator. As part of sensor operator, I want to verify whether a particular file is available or not. If it is available, then only I want to perform the remaining task execution. For that, I am going to use the sensor operator. Second one, in that I don't want to output any values only. For that reason, we are going to apply the concept called as a airflow variables. By including these two topics, I want to handle one more use case. Just observe here. Yeah, this is the one more DAG. So actually, for your understanding, in the DAG names also given the proper naming convention. Previous DAG, GCS, BigQuery, external table, internal table. This is the purpose of the DAG. If you see this DAG, GCS, BigQuery, external table, internal table, sensor, variable, all these topics are covering as part of this DAG. Just observe. Okay. Now if you observe here, so this is the DAG again. Same thing, and this DAG also what we are doing here. We are going to use the we are going to have the three sections. In the first section, we are going to import all the required variables. In the second section, we are going to define all the arguments. In the third section, we are going to define all our required tasks. At the end, we are going to define the dependencies. Now if you observe here, what is the first task we are having? GCS object sensor task, which is nothing but I want to see whether a particular file is available in the GCS bucket or not. After that file is available, then only I want to trigger the remaining task. And for that reason, here I am adding the one more task. If you observe, all remaining tasks are common in compared to the previous example. Here only we are adding the one more new task, which is nothing but GCS object sensor task. To add this task, if you observe, we are adding one more operator called as a Google Cloud Storage Object Sensor. With the help of this operator, we can able to sensor the bucket. In the bucket, we are going to see whether file is available. To perform this operation, we are going to use the operator called as nothing but Google Cloud Storage Object Sensor. With the help of this operator, we can able to scan the bucket. If file is available, we can able to continue with the next operation. Otherwise, it is waiting for some particular time. At the end of the time, what will happen? It is going to fail. That is the first thing. Second thing, as part of this use case, I want to deal with the variables only. Whenever you want to deal with the variables, in the airflow, we are having the one more argument called as a import variable. With the help of this import variable, we can able to work on the variable concept. And if you observe here, earlier what we did, we given the project ID, we given the region as the output values. Now, whenever we are going to apply the airflow variable concept, here we are going to give the project ID, but instead of giving the output value, if you observe what I'm giving, I am giving variable dot get of project ID. Next one, variable dot get of region. Now you tell me, you try to do the answer. With this line of the code, what is going to happen internally as part of running the DAG? Any guesses? As part of running the DAG, with this line of the code, what will happen?
It will get the project ID given in the airflow.
Exactly. In the airflow variables, whatever the project ID we have given ID, that variable or that key value will read here automatically. That value will be assigning to your project ID variable. In the same way, coming to region also, it is going to the airflow variable. It is picking the region value. Whatever the value you given, it will pick that value. Based on that value, it is going to perform the execution. Indirectly, this operation is going to perform the same thing. But only thing is nothing but instead of outputting the value, we are giving all the variables in the airflow console. After that, just we are adding the two more lines of the code. With these lines of the code, you can able to deal the airflow variables. With that, without outputting the values, we can able to simplify the solution. At the same time, here my requirement is I want to use the sensor operator. If you observe here in this sensor operator, what we are giving? We are giving the bucket name. This is the argument. We are giving the value. What is the value for bucket name? I am giving it as a U4 B1. After that, we are giving the object. What is the object? We are giving here. We are giving the value called as a object underscore name only. If you observe here, we are giving the object name. But for this object name, we are doing the concatenate operation. We are giving the file prefix. If you see what is the file prefix I am giving, source /dummy underscore That is my file prefix. In the source folder, we are having the file with the prefix called as a dummy underscore. Then we are given the file date. What is the file date? It's nothing but today.strf time. Today is nothing but it is taking the current date. We are converting the current date into the format called as a YYY-MM-DD format. With this, what will happen is it is taking the prefix. So prefix is nothing but source/dummy underscore. After that, with the file date, what is going to happen? You are going to get the current date, which is nothing but 2023-09-05. After that, we are given the file suffix. What is the file suffix here? Is nothing but .csv. Okay. So this is the way it is deriving the variable called as a object name only. But tell me any cases why we are doing all these operations here? Every day we need to verify this file is available or not. Every day we cannot able to give the hardcode value only. For that reason, instead of giving the hardcode value for the file date, I am deriving the file date by using the Python function called as a today function, by using one more function called as a converting the date format. By using these two functions, we are going to get the date format like this. After that, we are performing the concatenation of your file prefix, file suffix, and file date. Now you tell me indirectly by using the sensor operator, which file we are going to verify. Any cases? By using the sensor operator, which file we are going to verify in the GCS bucket?
Dummy file.
I am going to verify source folder. In the source folder, I am going to verify dummy underscore. This file is available or not. If this file is available, then only my job will succeed. Otherwise, what will happen? My job will wait for some more time to verify this file is landed or not. If it is not landed for the particular amount of time, then your task is going to fail. That's the reason you see here in this operator, if you observe, what we are giving? One, we are giving it as a timeout. Second one, we are giving it as a poke interval. Now do try to give the answer. What is the timeout? What is the poke interval? As per our discussion. What is the poke interval? What is the timeout?
Timeout when 1 minute.
Yeah, poke interval is nothing but every 10 seconds, I want to do the sensor operation. For example, at 10 a.m., it is doing the sensor operation. File is not available. Then again, when it will do the sensor operation, 10 minutes, 10, 1 minute, 10 seconds, it is going to perform the sensor operation. Again, file is not available. Again, at 1 minute, 20 seconds, it is going to perform the sensor operation. Again, 1 minute, 30 seconds, it is going to perform the sensor operation. Like this, till how many seconds it is going to perform the sensor operation? Till how many seconds?
120 seconds.
Till 120 seconds. 120 seconds. Till 2 minutes, it is going to perform the sensor operation. After 2 minutes also, if this file is not available, then what will happen? Then your task is going to fail. This is the way we need to understand how this sensor operator is going to work in our internal airflow only. First one, again, we have to do the task ID. Then we are giving the bucket. That value we are giving about object. We are deriving by using this entire code. We are deriving the file name. After that, we are giving the poke interval. In how much amount of time you want to run the sensor operation, and we are giving the timeout till how much time you want to perform the sensor operation. Now you tell me, for example, first 10 seconds, your file is available. Then tell me how many times this is going to perform the sensor operation. Within first 10 seconds only, your file is available in the bucket. In the situation, this sensor operator will run how many number of times?
One time.
One time.
One time.
It will run only one time. For example, my file came at the 50-second. Then
One time only.
my file came at the 50th second. Now
Right.
this job is running for every 10 seconds only. First 10 seconds, file is not available. Again, after 10 seconds, again it will trigger. After 10 seconds, it will trigger. In the
Right
future,
times.
your file is available. Then only what will happen? Your task will be succeeded. Now, for example, your file is available after the 140 seconds. Then what will happen? Your file is available after the 140 seconds in the airflow. Then what will
It
happen?
is failed.
Still
The
failed.
job is failed.
Now, my question is, how many times this sensor operator is going to trigger?
12 times.
12 times. Okay, 12 into 10, 120, which is nothing but 12 times your sensor operator will trigger. But in this 12 times, if this file is not available, then only what will happen? Your task
Job
is going to fail.
Fail.
This is the way you need to understand what is the importance of the sensor operator in the real-time projects. regularly we are going to use the sensor operator to verify whether files are available or not, or files are landed or not. To verify that kind of information, we are going to use the sensor operator. And you tell me here, what is the purpose of this line of the code? These two lines. What is the purpose of these two lines of the code?
Defining variable.
We are
retrieving
the variables.
To use the variables from the airflow console.
Airflow console.
In the airflow console, we are defining the variables. I want to use those variables according to my requirement. That's the reason we are importing the one library called as a variable. After that, we are writing the two lines of the code, and overall I am able to say in this whole that these two lines of the code and these 5 lines of the code and this is the task. Except that all remaining things are common. And one more last thing is nothing but here just we are adding the GCS object sensor task only. This is the task we are giving as the dependency one. Once this task is going to complete, then only I want to perform all the remaining operation. This is the way. Just I am adding some more concepts on top of this use case only. Now tell me, previous one is the end-to-end use case, or this is the end-to-end use case?
This is the entire use case.
This is the end-to-end use case only. Now, for example, if I am including these topics also in the previous example, you will get the confusion. That's the reason first I given the generic use case. Now we are including some more advanced topics on top of this use case. Now I can able to say this is the use case, end-to-end use case, which we can able to see as part of our real-time projects. Okay. Any questions on top of this use case? Please ask me here now.
Sir, it's not that compulsory that we'll be getting the source files in the CSV format, right?
Yeah, you can get it in the JSON also. If you are getting it in the JSON format, what will happen? In the same thing, just you have to do instead of .csv, you can do that as a .json. Or you will get the XML files. Or for example, you are going to get the Parquet files. Whatever the file you are going to get, you need to verify whether files are available or not. For those files, we can able to give it as a that kind of format here. With that, we can able to verify whether file is available or not. Indirectly, this sensor operator is not applicable for only CSV only. For any kind of file, we can able to use the same sensor operator. Okay. Any other questions?
Sir, in variables, we have defined a variable name, right, sir? So yeah, when we push this to testing team, so testing team will change the variable names there.
See, actually, if you are going to work in the real time, what will happen is for airflow, this is a kind of a web console. Okay, or web application. Now tell me, in every environment, we are going to see the same URL or we are going to have a different URLs? Obviously, we are going to see the different URLs because this is a kind of a web application. In dev environment, you are having one console URL. In other environments, we are going to have the different URLs only. In that URL, what dev team, what testing team or UAT team or prod. What we have to do here is we are going to create a file with all keys. Just what they need to do here is they need to import the keys. That's it. If you see here in the Airflow console, we can able to see option called as a import variables only. Instead of defining like this, what we can do here, if you are a developer, you can define all the key values into a JSON file. That JSON file you can able to hand over to the testing team. What testing team will do here? Just they will click on the import variables. They will give the path of the JSON file. With that, they can able to import all the variables on top of their Airflow console. In the same way, if we are going to perform the deployments into the production environment, in the production environment also what we can do here, simply we are going to provide the JSON file which is having all the key values only. With that JSON file, our DevOps team is going to import all the required variables. With that, they are going to complete the deployment activities as part of our real-time projects. Is it clear?
Yeah, okay, sir.
Any other questions? Hope you got some kind of idea in the real time what all are the activities we are going to perform in the orchestration too.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, sorry, I've taken some 20 minutes extra only, but just I want to complete this end-to-end flow. For other reason, just I've taken the 20 minutes of extra time. Hope you are understanding everything. Now, one question here. You want me to cover similar kind of end-to-end use cases in coming classes, or you want me to go ahead with the normal examples?
Yes, sir, you cover this topics.
End-to-end.
End-to-end, sir.
Okay. Okay. So from my side, I will cover end-to-end. So from your side, what you have to do? please do the practice, and that's one
Practice.
important thing. Okay, so covering from my side is not a big deal. If you observe here in my airflow folder, you can able to see multiple examples and workflow with parameters, workflow with no parameters, job with parameters, job with no parameters. So like this, I am having the multiple examples from my side, but you should have some kind of patience and you should have some kind of interest to learn all these things. And definitely, if you are going to have the interest, I will try to cover similar kind of end-to-end use cases in the coming classes also. But by seeing all these things, don't get scared feeling. Again, I'm repeating because I got some kind of feedback from few people and they are scaring by seeing all these things. First thing. Second feedback I got is some people are unable to catching up the things. So trust me here, I can able to say when we started the data prop, from that day onwards, I'm telling Andy, if you are missing one section, you cannot able to understand next section. Whomever did the practice on the data prop class or whomever did the practice on the jobs and workflows and those people easily can able to understand what all are the use cases we are discussing in the airflow or in the data prop side. In the data prop side, we discuss the jobs, workflows with parameter, without parameter. Like that, we discuss the multiple topics and but whomever did the practice on all those topics, they can able to understand very easily whatever we are doing as part of the airflow, because every topic is interlinked here. Okay, if you can able to do the practice on daily basis, automatically what will happen, easily you can able to catch up every topic at it. But if you are not performing the practice, if you are not doing the regular things, what will happen, automatically you cannot able to catch up the things. If this process will continue, for 5 days or 7 days, 8th day, what will happen, simply you are going to give the feedback, I am not understanding anything, and the SAR is going very fast. SAR is covering all the topics very fastly. That's the reason I'm not understanding anything. But if you observe here, if I want to cover everything very fastly, what will happen? By this time, our course will complete. I am not going any hurry way. I am going in the very, very slow way, because I know most of the people are non-IT people. Most of the people are the non-experienced people. That's the reason, as part of discussions also, or as part of each and every topic, I am trying to cover very minute details to advanced topics. If you take the database concepts examples only, in the database concepts example, we are starting from the create command to till our Windows function. I haven't skipped any kind of topic as part of our database concepts. In the same way, if you take the GCS or data prop or airflow, anything, I am trying to give the end-to-end information as part of the classes. Whether you are ready to take all those things or not, that is your choice. But from my side, I am trying to cover all the required examples and all the real-time examples, whatever we are going to perform in the real time. Try to utilize it in the proper way. With that, you can able to get the perfect understanding of each and everything. Once you are going to get the perfect understanding, automatically what will happen? You can able to get the confidence. With the confidence, automatically you can able to get the jobs. Okay, for that reason, please understand everything properly. With that, please do the practice regularly. With that, you can able to catch up everything very, very easily. Okay, this is one thing. And I saw one more feedback, which is nothing but focus on students' practice compared to completion of the course. I'm not sure who given this feedback, so I'm not pointing anyone. Definitely, your feedback is going to helpful to us to understand where we are lagging and where you are lagging. But after seeing this feedback, I wondered here. So actually, I am not focusing on the students' practice. Every day, every session, I'm giving the same statement: do the practice, do the practice, and do the practice. At the same time, from last week or from last 10 days onwards, our lab assistant, our junior faculty is conducting the practical sessions. What I came to know here is, in these sessions, only 2-3 people are attending. What happened to remaining people? I'm not sure about that. So see here, from our side, we are conducting the practical sessions. Our lab faculty is providing the support. Might be she cannot able to give the answers for all the questions, but at least she can able to give the answers for whatever the questions she knows. Try to utilize that thing, without using all those things. Don't Think like this, okay? So we are not focusing on the student's practice. So see here, if I am not focusing on the student practice, why I will do the assignments, why I will do the use cases, why I will do all the things only. So please take everything in the positive way. Try to do the practice from your side. And some people are giving the comment, we are not getting the time to do practice. This is one more feedback I received, and I got the one more feedback. Start taking lot of time to complete the course. If you observe here, both are completely contrary to each other. One person is saying, "Sir is not given the time to complete the to do the practice." Other person is saying, "Sir is taking lot of time to complete the course only." Actually, I will take both in the positive way, but you need to understand, I am giving enough amount of time for the purpose of doing the practice. In that class, I am giving the time. At the same time, after completion of the class, also you are having how many hours every day? 24 hours. Out of 24 hours, in institute you are spending only 3 to 4 hours only. Now what about the remaining 21 hours or 18 hours? You don't have the time to perform the practice. Don't give this kind of justifications only. If you are doing the mistake, please accept the mistake. Without accepting that, don't give this kind of statements. We are not getting the time to do the practice. You are having enough amount of the time, and I myself can able to say, I am not taking 3 classes nowadays. Because of the feedback from the student, some people are raising the complaint saying that because of the 3 classes, we are not understanding anything. That's the reason I am not taking the 3 classes. At the same time, in last 2 weeks, I given 3-4 holidays. What you can do in these 3-4 holidays, instead of enjoyment only, you can able to perform the practice. Indirectly, I'm trying to say you are having enough amount of time to perform the practice. If you don't have the time, please create the time. It is your responsibility. You have to spend your complete time on the practice. With that only what will happen? You can able to get the job. Okay, from my side, if I'm going to cover everything, you cannot able to get the job only. From your side, you have to perform the end-to-end practice on daily basis. With that, easily you can able to get the job. And coming to this feedback, start taking lot of time to complete the course study. So see here, on the demo session or on the day 1 of the class only, I told you, our course will take 45 to 60 days. Intentionally given this statement only. I know as part of the process how people are going to react. So if I'm not going to complete the classes within the 45 days, people will raise this kind of concern. That's the reason I given the clear instruction as part of the demo only. Our course will take 45 to 60 days by considering we are having non-IT people, non-experienced people, all these kind of people. Okay, what I am assuming here is this feedback I am thinking we received from the old batch people. Old batch people, don't hurry yourself because I know you people joined this batch to understand missed topics from the previous batch or from the previous faculty. For you, I cannot able to complete the course very fastly. If I'm going to complete very fastly, what will happen? New batch people cannot able to understand all the topics properly. That's the reason we'll go in the slow pace only. We are going to complete the course within the next 10 days or 15 days or 20 days. Please have the patience. Try to understand each and every topic, whatever we are discussing as part of our classes. Okay. And if you remember, 3-4 days back, I given the statement. If anyone is in the hurry mode, or if anyone is having the interest, you can upload your resumes. Because already we completed all the important topics and the remaining topics also important. But as part of interviews, whatever the 60 to 70% of the questions they are asking, we covered all such kind of topics and if you want old batch people or new batch people, go and directly can able to upload the resume and attend my classes in parallel. With that, you can attend the classes at the same time. You can able to search for the jobs also. For you people, I cannot able to complete the course in the hurry mode. If I am going in the hurry mode, non-IT people and non-experienced people cannot able to catch the things. And I need to balance all the people. That's the reason. Please have the patience and try to understand every concept, whatever we are going to discuss. This is one thing. And one more thing. Some people are thinking whether SAR will cover the sensor operators or not, whether SAR will cover the variables or not, whether SAR will cover the pop sub or not. Don't think about all these things. Only focus on whatever we are discussing as part of the classes, as part of your course content, whatever the topics we mentioned. That's my responsibility to cover each and every topic. From your side, don't worry whether I'm going to cover all these topics or not. From my end, it's my responsibility to cover each and every topic, whatever I mentioned in the course content. From your side, please focus on what we are discussing and please focus on what I am teaching. Focus on how to do the practice. Your focus should be on those lines only. Don't think about whether I'm going to cover all these topics which are present in the course content. That is my responsibility. I will complete each and every topic, whatever we mentioned in the course content. Okay. And one last statement. Whomever given this feedback, I am not at all pointing anyone. Please don't take this in the negative way only. Just I am giving the justification for your feedbacks only. So we only ask for the feedback. Based on your feedback, we can understand how much we are teaching good and how much you are understanding only. Definitely, all this feedback I will take it in the positive way only. I am not taking any feedback in the negative way, but just for few feedbacks, I am giving the justification. I can able to say out of 70 people. No, actually in the group, in our Telegram group, if you observe, we have 101 people. Out of 101, 60 to 70 people are attending on daily basis. Out of the 60 to 70, 30 to 40 people given the feedback. Remaining people are, I think, busy and so that's the reason they haven't given the feedback. But these 30 to 40 people given the feedback. Out of these 30 to 40 people, from 5 people, we received this kind of comments. All other people given the positive feedback only. But I am not going to focus on these 35 people who given the positive feedback only. I need to focus on remaining 5 people who given the some negative feedback. I need to understand what is their problem. I need to solve their problem. That is the intention of taking the feedback. Okay. Not only these 5 people. If any other people are having any such kind of feedback only, please communicate to the management or please communicate to the admin team. From my end, I will take everything in the positive mode only. But might be you will get the question, sir, then why you are giving all these statements? Okay, why I am giving you this one is just I am giving the justification. So where you are lagging and how we need to catch up the things to understand that, just I am giving the justification only. I am not at all pointing anyone to why you are giving the negative feedback, why you are giving the positive feedback. I am not pointing anyone. Just I am giving the justification for some feedback statements, whatever we received as part of our feedback process. Okay. Any questions on all this? Please ask me here. I know this is the waste of the topic, but this is one or other way. For some people, this is the required topic, and for that reason, just I taken 5 more extra minutes. Any questions? Okay, if no questions, so from my side, I will share the second file also, Randy. So this is the second DAG file, whatever we discussed. So now, as part of doing the practice on top of this DAG, just you have to do small activity, which is nothing but go to your bucket. Go to the source folder. In the source folder, please remove this file. Whatever the dummy file we are having, remove this file and trigger the entire DAG only. There you can able to see what is happening. After 10 seconds or after 20 seconds, place the file again. Then you can able to see what is happening. With that, you can able to get the proper practical knowledge on top of the second use case only. Blindly don't run the things by keeping the file. If you are going to run, what will happen? It will success everything. That's the reason, as part of doing the practice on the second use case, please remove this file from the bucket. Verify for 10-20 seconds what is happening. After 20-30 seconds, please upload the file one more time. With that, you can able to observe what is happening as part of using our sensor operator. One more last statement here. After successful execution of this one, we need to validate our end-to-end flow. So how to validate the end-to-end flow only? Just 2 more minutes I will take only. I need to validate the end-to-end flow. How to validate? What is the first step? We need to go to the buckets. In the buckets, what we need to verify? In the buckets, what we need to verify?
Yes.
We need to verify. Second bucket is, this is the bucket which we are creating by using the DAG only. This bucket is created or not. In my case, bucket is created. Within the bucket, files are copied or not. That is the second thing we need to verify. Folder is copied. Within the folder, all the files are copied. What's the next thing we need to verify? What is the next thing we need to verify? Please go to your BigQuery console. In the BigQuery console, just to refresh the things here. Once we are going to perform the refresh operation, here I need to see the CZ data set. SZ data set. In the CZ, I need to see all the tables. In the SZ, I need to see the summary table. In the summary table, I need to get this kind of output. Then only you can able to say your end-to-end flow is working perfectly. And don't think that uploading the DAG is showing success, your activity is completed. That is not proper way of the development. As a developer, you need to perform the unit testing. Earlier we discussed about what all are the unit test cases we have to write. In this example, we need to verify the bucket created or not. After that, we need to verify files copied or not. After that, we need to verify data sets created or not. After that, we need to verify tables created or not. All these are the validations we need to perform, and you need to perform practice on 2 use cases. I given one DAG already. Second DAG I will share you in the few minutes only. With that, you can able to perform the practice on both the use cases. So that's all from my side. If anyone have any questions, we can have the discussion. Otherwise, we can able to wind it up.
Sir, for what purpose the webhook is defined?
Okay, you please repeat the question.
Like in some cases, based upon the requirement, they'll be giving a webhook, right, in Airflow.
Yeah, that's a separate topic. We are going to cover the tomorrow session.
Oh, okay.
So simply I can able to say, if you want to deal with the HTTP protocols, or if you want to deal with the database operators, in the situation, we need to go for the hooks. That is the high level answer, but in detail we'll cover in the tomorrow session when time permits.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
Excuse me, sir. In
Yeah,
the Airflow, it is showing the copy file error. Like, what might be the error, sir? What might be the mistake I have done?
It might be you given the wrong path only. So I mentioned, right, you have to change the source file. Yeah, just 1 second only. Other people, whomever don't have the questions, we can able to drop the call. No issues. Yeah, coming to this question, if you see here, I given the source bucket name as a U4B1, target bucket name as a U4B2. Might be here you are using the same bucket, but in your case, might be your source bucket name is different. Please verify that once, whether you change the bucket name properly or not.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Any other questions?
Sir,
Yeah, please.
do I need to stop the what are the in the Airflow Composer, or do we need to delete the files which is uploaded to reduce the cost?
1 second. So most of the use cases are covered. Okay, if you want, after completion of these 2 use cases, you can able to delete your composer. So might be I will cover one more use case. So okay, so just at that I will go in the theoretical way. So no need to perform the practice on that one. But if you want to do the practice on the other operators, you can able to don't delete that, and you can able to perform the practice on it. Otherwise, whenever it requires, if you want, you can able to create the one more composer environment by depending on your convenience. For now, after completion of these 2 use cases practice, if you don't want to do the further practice, you can able to delete that, no issues.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, if no question. Yeah, please.
While running DAG in Airflow, task failed with exception is showing.
What's the exception? So as I told you earlier, whenever it is giving any kind of exception, please click on the DAG. Once you click on that, double click on the DAG, it is going to open the one more window. In that window, you need to go to the logs. In the log, you can able to see the error. Once you understand the error, you can understand what is the mistake. With that, you can able to do the required changes.
In logs only, I'm telling so.
Yeah, what's the exception?
It's saying it's exception. That's all.
Okay, can you please share your screen? What's your name? I will give the permission to you.
Bhaskar, sir. In phone I'm using.
Okay, then you cannot able to share the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, tomorrow anyhow you are coming to offline classes.
Yes, sir. I will.
Yeah, in offline we can discuss on it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, please verify the DAG once only. So whatever the changes we need to perform, please try to do all the changes. Otherwise, it will work without having any errors. If you are not doing any changes properly, then only you will get the errors.
Sir, can we delete the cluster?
Which cluster? Dataflow cluster?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can delete it because we completed most of the things on the Dataflow cluster only. If you want, you can able to stop it. Otherwise, if you want, you can delete it. If I'm going to cover the one more example after 1 week, if you want, we can create it one more time.
Okay.
For now, you can delete, no issues.
Yes.
Yeah. In the chart also mentioned, whenever you are not doing practice or any service, you can remove everything. If you want, we can able to create everything. With that, you can able to get the practice one more time. So with that, you can able to recap everything only. So if you are not working on any kind of things, you can able to delete. So for now, I can able to say data plot cluster is not required. We completed all the examples on the data plot. Might be after 1 week, if I'm going to cover the one more example, at that point of time, we can able to create the one more cluster within 5-10 minutes. In the same way, in the GCS bucket, if you're having the multiple buckets and multiple files only, please delete all those things. In the same way, in the BigQuery, if you are having the multiple tables, please delete all those tables only, because for all those from my side, all the examples are completed. But if you want to perform the practice from your side, then you can able to maintain all these folders and everything. Otherwise, if you want, you can delete all those things. With that, we can able to reduce the cost on top of our GCP account. Okay. Okay, then if no questions, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.